For centuries, one question has refused to fade. A question debated in classrooms, argued online, and shaped by politics, pride, and misunderstanding. Who were the ancient Egyptians? Were they black? Were they white? Or is the truth far older and far more African than modern labels allow? To answer this, we must listen not to modern opinion, but to ancient voices, ancient art, and historical evidence. Long before modern racial categories existed, ancient texts already placed Egypt firmly in Africa. In the Bible, Ethiopia is known as Cush, a land consistently located south of Egypt. Cush is mentioned alongside Egypt dozens of times, often as a powerful African kingdom. And one verse stands out: "Can the Ethiopian change his skin or the leopard its spots?" This statement only makes sense if skin color was visible, meaningful, and understood. Ancient Jewish, Greek, and Roman writers all described Cushites as dark-skinned Africans. On this point, history is clear. Biblical Ethiopia, Cush, was black. To understand Egypt, we must let Egyptians speak for themselves. Ancient Egyptian art followed strict rules. Colors were symbolic but never random. Egyptians painted themselves as reddish-brown Nubians, as deep black Asiatics, as pale yellow Libyans, as lighter-skinned with distinct markings. This shows us something crucial. Egyptians clearly distinguished Africans from non-Africans. They did not paint themselves white, and they did not confuse themselves with Europeans. Their facial features, broad noses, full lips, strong jaws, align closely with Northeast African populations. This is not modern interpretation. This is ancient self-identification. Egypt did not exist in isolation. To its south was Nubia, also called Cush, a powerful black African civilization. For centuries, Nubians ruled Egypt. Egyptians ruled Nubia. Cultures blended, traded, and intermarried. During the 25th dynasty, black Nubian pharaohs ruled Egypt, restoring temples and traditions. This was not foreign occupation. It was African continuity. So why does Egypt look different today? Because history never stands still. After ancient Egypt's peak, the land was ruled by Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Ottomans. These rulers did not erase Egyptians. They settled, married, and mixed with local populations, especially in northern Egypt. Over centuries, Egypt became a genetic and cultural crossroads. Southern Egypt and Nubia, however, remained closer to ancient population patterns. The result? A north-south gradient still visible today. One of the biggest transformations was Arabization. Arabization does not mean population replacement. It means a new language, a shared religion, a new cultural identity. Egyptians became Arabic-speaking but remained Egyptian. Culture can change in centuries. DNA changes far more slowly. Modern genetic research confirms what history suggests. Egyptians today retain significant ancient Egyptian ancestry. Northern Egyptians show more Near Eastern and Mediterranean influence. Southern Egyptians retain more African ancestry. This is not disappearance, it is continuity through change. The final confusion comes from modern racial thinking. Black and white are recent inventions. Ancient Egyptians did not use them. They identified by land, culture, language. An ancient Egyptian would not ask, "What race am I?" They would say, "I am Egyptian." Ethiopia, Cush, was unmistakably black. Egypt was African. Ancient Egypt had deep black African roots, especially in the south. Modern Egyptians are not imposters. They are descendants shaped by time. What changed was not Africa's role in history, but how that history was told. Africa did not borrow civilization. Africa shaped it. If this documentary helped you see history more clearly, support The Truth, like, share, and subscribe, because African history deserves accuracy, not erasure.
Before the pyramids, before the pharaohs, before history had a name, there was the Nile. Along its banks emerged one of the longest-lasting civilizations in human history. Not in Europe, not in Asia, but in Africa. This is the story of the ancient Egyptians, who they were, how they lived, and why their legacy still shapes the world today. Ancient Egypt was born from rhythm. Every year, the Nile flooded its banks, leaving behind rich black soil. The Egyptians called this land Kemet, the Black Land. The desert beyond was Deshret, the Red Land. This natural order created food, surplus, stability, and time to think. Where others struggled to survive, Egyptians planned, recorded, and built. Civilization did not arrive suddenly. It grew organically from African soil. The ancient Egyptians were indigenous Nile Valley Africans. They were farmers, artisans, priests, engineers, soldiers, and scholars. Their identity was not based on skin color, but on land, language, culture, and shared belief. They called themselves Remet en Kemet, the people of the Black Land. In their art, they painted themselves brown, distinct from Europeans and Asians. They knew who they were, and they knew where they belonged. At the center of Egyptian civilization was one idea. Mat meant truth, balance, justice, harmony, and moral order. The universe itself depended on it. Kings ruled to protect it. Laws reflected it. And in death, every soul was judged by it. The Egyptians believed a society without morality would collapse into chaos. This belief held Egypt together for over 3,000 years. The pharaoh was not merely a king. Here sometimes she was the bridge between heaven and earth. But the pharaoh was not above Mat. A ruler who failed morally risked famine, rebellion, and divine punishment. Leadership carried cosmic responsibility. This was power restrained by ethics, a rare idea in the ancient world. Ancient Egypt was not built by superstition. It was built by knowledge. Egyptian doctors performed surgery, treated wounds, and studied anatomy. Engineers used geometry to build monuments aligned to stars and cardinal directions. The Great Pyramid stood as the tallest structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. This was not primitive engineering. It was African science at its peak. To preserve knowledge, Egyptians created writing. Hieroglyphs recorded history, science, religion, and law. Scribes were trained, respected, and powerful. In Egypt, knowledge was not hidden. It was systematically taught. Civilization was remembered because it was written. Egyptians believed life did not end with death. The soul lived on judged by its actions. The heart was weighed against the feather of Mat. A moral life meant eternal harmony. An unjust life meant destruction. In Egypt, ethics followed you beyond the grave. Egypt was never isolated from Africa. It traded, married, and ruled alongside Nubia. Black Nubian pharaohs once ruled Egypt during the 25th dynasty. Egypt was part of an African continuum, not an exception. Africa was not waiting to be civilized. Africa was already civilizing itself. Over centuries, Egypt changed. New languages, religions, and cultures arrived. But Egyptians did not disappear. They adapted. Modern Egyptians are not replacements. They are descendants shaped by time. Ancient Egypt was African. It was moral, scientific, spiritual, and powerful. Its people shaped history long before the modern world began. Egypt is not a mystery. It is a legacy. And that legacy belongs to Africa. If this documentary deepened your understanding of African history, like, share, and subscribe. 2 African Scrolls, TV Folktale, because history matters. And Africa's story deserves to be told, fully and truthfully.